Heyo, it's me, Harper Savage, and today we're going to be working on how much art can you make. And the first prompt is, what is surreal? Draw things that don't make any sense. And for that, I'm going to grab external paper. For this, I'll be using my Ohuhu alcohol markers. I really don't know why my camera does that at the beginning of every single how much art can you make videos. I guess it might be it's doing some weird color correcting thing, and I know purple is one of the harder colors to record. And I only know that because I watched Andromeda growing up, and they had to change a character's purple skin tone to something not purple because the camera would not pick it up right. Anyways, that might have aged me a little bit there. But I decided to draw some irises because if you don't know, the color part of your eye is actually called the iris. And I thought it'd be funny to just like play off the word iris to make some eyes in the flower to make it surreal, you know, like the prompt. To be honest with you, I got the eye in flowers idea because a lot of like the Halloween crafts and like designs this year I've seen have had eye flowers. I know it's probably every year, but I'm seeing it like dominantly this year. Let me know if you notice that too, or if I'm just imagining it. I actually do have irises growing in my yard. I took a photo of them when they're in bloom in reference to my own flowers. They were very nice and pretty. Left by the previous owners, of course. That's why I chose that color scheme for the irises. They had like the light purple color on top and then dark purple bottom. Now, flowers are one of my favorite things to ink because I really like going in with the extra details, especially with like some kind of like brush flare-ish kind of nib on my inking device, pen, marker, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, there's just something about it that I just really like doing. I also like it when it comes to digital art as well. It's not just for traditional art. Okay, for the rest of this prompt, I'm going to be using some scrapbooking paper, some stickers that this one's labeled like mushroom succulent trees. This one is labeled insects. I also have these two books I might pull from. Yeah, we're going to be doing some scrapbooking or mixed media. I'm not sure what it's considered. Another common word for what I'm doing is collage, I believe. But first I'm going to pick out what paper I want, so you'll see me switch back and forth between them, putting the cutout on to each of them, just to see which one looks better. I think the one with the crows really matched, and I thought it was like too matchy, so I went with the one with the less matchy look to it, and then also softer background, so the flowers like still stood out on it. Because I didn't want it to be too busy where you couldn't see anything else I put on top of it. And now I'm just going to go in and place all the things that I picked out beforehand. I did not want you guys to suffer through me trying to figure out where things go. I still do it a little bit here. Like that beetle will be moved around a couple of times. And I mainly just picked out stickers that kind of matched a little bit with what was going on, but mostly the colors is what I was focusing on. The greens and the purples. Alright, the next prompt is how many pixels? Fill this page with pixel art only. And for that, I'm going to be using an external page again. Now, I decided to skip the drawing a grid step and just use grid paper that I had. I think for this, I'm going to be using my paint markers. So at first, I'm going to show you a little bit in detail how I colored this in before going to more like a jump cutty kind of segment here. I decided to outline every area where I was going to color in first before coloring, just so I wouldn't get confused. You know, whenever you do checkered pattern, you always color one wrong and then it ruins everything. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to do that for this. And I do try to do a little bit of shading by making a little bit of the pixels a darker shade in some areas. And I also do a highlight in the same fashion, but on the edges. I think for the lily pads, it's more of the edge of it's in the water and not necessarily a highlight, though. Also, I drew lily pads, if it wasn't obvious, and a turtle. Now, because I draw Pete and even Brie all the time, I thought I should draw my turtle Truffles at least occasionally, right? He doesn't really get in the spotlight that often because his tank is not in an area where I can show him off anymore. He lives in the main area of our house. He used to be in my bedroom when I still lived at my parents' house. And then he moved into the master bedroom where it became more of our like craft area at our parents' house. And then we moved. So he has not been in the spotlight for quite some time. And I thought it was just time to add him back in so everyone remembers that I have a rescue turtle. He is a painted turtle. And he is, oh gosh, he's COVID years old. I don't remember how old he is. And that is how I'm going to be coloring this turtle the best that I can, because I did not take into account his size and shape when I did the rim of his shell, because they have a color pattern on the edge, and I was going for like every other one, and then it got like weird because of the jagged parts. I did have a lot of trouble picking out colors for him, so I am going to be changing his colors up. But that's, you know, the beauty of paint markers when they work for you, is you can color over them like it never happened. Now, painted turtles are mostly black with bright orange, yellow, and even white stripes. But because it's a pixel simplified look, I had to really scale back the details and figure out what I was going to do, because paint markers are very limited in their color palettes, so I did not want him to be totally black. In fact, I didn't want him to be black at all. So that's why I went with like a green and a cool gray color for his shell and green skin, even though he's not green. But it also helped kind of make him look like he was underwater, like the lily pad edges. And I think it really started to come together after I started coloring in the water. That looked like a whole lot of nothing at first. And then I decided last minute that it was not enough detail, and I made the edges of the water near the ripple lines a little bit lighter. All right. Next, we have what's bubbling. Draw something that pops or bubbles. Again, gonna use some external paper. I'm gonna be using my Artistro watercolors for this. Man, did I use external paper for all of these this time? I guess I'm not that worried about it, because I think the grid paper was like super thin, like see-through thin even. So on the left side, I have a cauldron or a pot, whatever is less offensive to you. Pick whatever you want. And it is boiling a brew up, and that's the smoke above it. I made it very dramatic just to fill in the space. And I made it colorful because I was hoping it could be like a large batch of perhaps a drink of some kind, you know? Like the part that they make before it goes to the major chains and stores, so they only have to mix it or heat it up and then it's done. That's the idea, okay? It's a mixture that's being boiled and processed in large quantities. And I decided to not use black in this piece. I try to avoid using black most of the time if I can. I just feel like it's too safe and easy to use black because it does like fix a lot of mistakes. But I'm not putting shade on anybody, by the way. It's just a personal challenge I put onto myself, where I try to avoid using black. It's actually something that was ingrained in my brain in school. I don't know why the teacher never wanted us to use like actual black from the tube. They wanted us to mix it. But anyways, I just like to challenge myself is all I'm getting at here. And on the right side, we have a drink here. That's the end result of the big brew. And it is a popping bubble drink. It's very similar to boba tea. It can be like anything. It doesn't have to be milk tea or anything. It's usually like a fruity, or a green tea kind of mixture. And the bubbles are popping bubbles, which instead of like tapioca, they have like little juice inside of them. And if it wasn't obvious, I did give a pearlescent layer of color to the liquid parts just to make it a little bit more fancy. And I made the popping bubbles stick out by using a glitter marker. I did do the background off screen here. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I just didn't record it or if I forgot to record it. Like, I don't know if it was a choice or an accident. It's been a minute since I recorded this part. Now I'm just going in with some finishing details. Just gotta add an extra dose of shine and twinkles. Makes everything better. Also, that puddle off to the side was on purpose because that marker was not working until I pumped it to death. And then I just go in with the final line work before putting it into the book. I feel like this line work in particular took quite a bit because I go around every single bubble. I go around every bubble on the cauldron side and then the popping bubbles on the drink side, so just hang tight. All right, let's go over what we did today. First, we did what is surreal, and I drew some interesting iris flowers and put in some weird oddities. I probably will be putting like packing tape on this later because these stickers don't like to stick. It's weird. Stickers not doing their job. And then we did how many pixels with my turtle. And then last we did what's bubbling, and I did some like shiny glitter stuff. I think out of today, my favorite is the surreal page, even though I didn't actually draw all of it. I just think it looks really cool. I had a lot of fun doing the pixel page though, but after I made the mistake of putting a glue stick on the back of it and it wrinkled, I was like, oh, I don't like this that much anymore. It's not really that horribly wrinkled, but I was disappointed when it got all messed up because, I don't know, the glue and the thin paper just did not mix well. I should have just left it at glue tape on the edges and let the innards be. I think this one was okay. I just don't really like that watercolor set, and but I'm like, I gotta use it up. I feel like my idea also isn't very clear without an explanation for this one, but it's whatever. I like the colors for it, at least. But that is going to be it for me today. If you want to watch the last episode of How Much Art Can You Make, you can tap the thumbnail here. If you want to catch up on anything you missed, you can tap the thumbnail here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the cool YouTube things of commenting, liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!